what we have here is an Autumnaire made by Safer. When you think of Safer, you'd probably think NuTone, since Safer made most of NuTone's products. However, Safer also marketed or sold their fans under different labels, aside from NuTone, such as Autumnaire, Starlit, etc., Spinnaker, blah blah blah, things like those. Now, what we're looking at here is a 48-inch fan. Yeah, it's a 48-inch fan with a stamped steel motor. And what's really interesting here are these. These little buggers up here are nuts. They're slotted nuts. This thing's weird. Very weird, because basically how the blade's attached to the motor is like this. Alright. There are bolts, quarter 20 bolts that are inside the motor itself, alright, that have their threads jutting out. And then you have these little slotted nuts that actually fasten the blades to the motor. Very, very, very weird. You can see it has a different angle. As you can see, it has lower canopy, all that fun stuff, upper canopy. I'm going to show you something. And there is a plastic yoke. Yeah, Safer had this thing for plastic one-piece yokes for some screwed up, unknown reason. Yeah, plastic. However, you should know that it's not as sketchy as it seems. I say that because, come on, fasten the stupid screw back on. Come on, there we go. Damn it. Oh well, anyway. It's a plastic yoke, but that's not all there is to it. Now, see, the downrod in this thing is actually smushed. It is flattened at the end. Okay. And it has a hole cut out in the middle of the flattened part, which the yoke fits around. So basically, the hook goes through a hole in the downrod, and the fake plastic bushing, and then the yoke is all just for show. Yeah, it's weird. As you can also tell, the motor is stamped steel. I would say this fan, I'd say it dates to the early 80s. Let's see if we can find the label. There it is. I don't know how much of the label you can actually read, but it is model 666. Hail Satan. As you can see, it says manufactured exclusively for Autumnaire by Safer Electrical Manufacturing Company, made in Hong Kong. Interesting that it actually shows the OEM right there. Now, while we're here, stop it. Notice the arch end blades. Solid walnut. Yeah. These blades are solid. Again, this is a 48-inch fan. Also worth noting that there are wires sticking out of the bottom. I'm not sure if there was ever a nut or not. It probably was. The wires lead me to believe that it's like kit-adaptable, but it doesn't really look like it from a structural standpoint. Also here, this is the 5-speed wall control. A fun little choke. Right here would have been, I would assume, a push button on and off switch, and then the rotary dial. So, we're here. See how it performs. First we start on the low. Now when I got this fan, the bearings were gummed up to hell. You know, like they were nasty. So I fed it some WD-40 and oil, you know, to soften up the gummy grease. It's been working pretty well, because at first it wouldn't start on speed 1 or 2. Barely started on 3. So it's broken in a bit. Interestingly, that yoke I was ranting about has a patent application on it, or a patent number, and I would assume part of that's a date, and the date says 1978. That for the yoke. The rest of the fan, I would assume early 80s, maybe 81, 82, something like that. Yeah. Per usual with speed coil-based controls, the low speed's kind of fast. You can kind of hear the bearings. Let's go to speed number 2. Speed number 2 really is more akin to a normal medium speed. So it's not very good in terms of, you know, speed variation. Speed coil-based or choke controls are basically medium low, medium high, higher, and highest. Which is stupid. You'd think they would have engineered them to have a better speed selection, but nope. This is what they gave you. Speed number 3. It's a relatively average blade pitch. Maybe 11, possibly 12 degrees. Now it's interesting that Safer chose to use their stamped motors on everything that wasn't Newtone. With Newtone, I don't know if this may have been Newtone's own specification, but with every other label it seems like Safer used stamped motors, whereas Newtone was cast aluminum. Until maybe 1986 or so, and then they changed to stamped steel. Let's go to speed 4. Very little in terms of speed difference. So let's just go to speed 5, which is high speed. Fan's covered in tar, clearly from a smoker's home, and for whatever reason also covered, or the top bits were covered in sawdust as well. Hell if I know why. Yeah, the high speed is slightly above average in terms of Safers, because Safers generally aren't the fastest, or residential Safers generally are not the fastest fans. So, yeah, it's interesting. It also seems like, you know, the non-Newtone labels are not particularly common. So. And now we turn it off and let it coast down. As you can see, the coast down time is very short because the bearings are still gummy, but there you go. An Autumnaire residential spinner model 666 made by Safer.